Welcome to Viking Preparedness. I'm Pastor Joe Fox. Hazak welcomes you. The chickens welcome you. We finished Viking Pistol 1, second edition, second iteration yesterday. It went well. Everybody left here learning something. Some people learned a lot. Some people came here knowing pretty much, and then we tweaked them a little bit and gave them a lot of practice, and so they left better. And some people came here not knowing hardly anything, and we made them a lot better. And so that's good. Like anything else, you have to take the lessons you learn and then apply them, right? You have to practice them. You have to go implement them. And we gave them strategies to do that, with ammo, dry firing, other things. So hopefully they will be motivated to continue with what they learned, because that makes it worth more, right? And it allows one to internalize it. And really what I want to talk about today is motivation. The stated purpose of this channel is to motivate you, right? I try to motivate you to take better care of yourself, to be prepared. You see my billy goat? He's stripping that tree by the avocado. Can you see him back there? Where are you, Billy? There you go. To be prepared so that you can take care of yourself, your loved ones, and others, right? I talk about expanding circles. That's what I'm looking at over there. Looking down into the woods. Make sure there's no Bigfoot out there. I try to motivate you to live a simpler life, to get rid of the nonsense out of your life. I try very subtly to motivate you to develop a closer relationship with the Father, right? But I'll let you in on a secret. I'll let you in on a secret that could put me out of video business. The goat's like, why aren't you taking me with you? Motivation comes from within you. Your motivation comes from within you. Well, Pastor Joe, you said you try to motivate us. I know, because people accept that term, and people think that I am motivating them. But the reality is, when I do what I do, or say what I say, or lead by example, or whatever, that just triggers something within you that resonates in you, that gets you to kick yourself in the pants and go do something. It's really not me. And once you realize that, then you begin to take responsibility, right? Personal responsibility for your own motivation. I can sit here and, do a Gilad video, work out on the beach, and you're like, oh yeah, I want to be like that. Except, right now I've got extra poundage on my belly, so that wouldn't be a very good video. But, you can watch a workout video, Navy SEALs workout video. Come on, really? The motivation has to come from in here. And then the drive has to come from here. We call it heart, right? You got to have guts to get out there and do it. You have to decide you want to do something. And then you have to decide it's important. And then you have to figure out how important it is. Where does it fit into your priorities so that you can do it? Motivation is a key to survival, right? I'm an Army SEER instructor. I was, it's not like you have to recertify every year, but obviously I'm not training survival, evasion, resistance, and escape to the Army right now. But I was a certified instructor. And we would tell this story about drive and motivation and never giving up and never quitting. Look at this, isn't this pretty? I just want you to see what I'm seeing. There was a guy who crashed in an airplane in the desert, and we teach desert survival too, right? and he did everything wrong. He walked away from the crash site. He didn't tell anybody, where he's going as a private plane. He didn't file a flight plan or something. I don't know. Somehow, nobody really knew where he was, or he deviated from it or something. He crashes his plane. He walks away from the crash site. He walks during the day, right? He didn't have or take any survival equipment with him. And so he gets dehydrated quickly. He gets in a bad position, bad shape quickly. And he ends up crawling through the desert. He takes off his clothes because he's hot. Another bad thing to do in the desert. And, by the grace of God, luck, the stars aligning, whatever, rescuers find him naked, scratches all over his body from deliriously crawling, across the desert through cacti and whatever. He can't bleed anymore through his wounds because he's so dehydrated. He is on the verge of death. And so they take him to the hospital, and he's getting better. And the survival school at Fort Bragg sent some cadre members to go interview this guy. Hey, it's a survival situation. Let's see what we can learn so we can teach these things to soldiers maybe. What to do or what not to do, right? And that they really wanted to know is how he made it so far in such a bad condition, because really a normal man would have died, right? And this guy, it's not like he was a Green Beret or a Ranger or anything. And you know why he said he made it and what drove him on when other people, lesser mortals, would have quit? He was in the process of getting a divorce from his wife, and he had changed the will but not gotten it signed yet or something like that, and he knew that if he died, his wife or ex-wife, whatever status it was in, was going to get everything, and he did not want that to happen, and he wanted to get home to make sure that that didn't happen, right? I mean, that's what drove him. So that was a negative, it's probably something akin to hatred, which will burn you up inside. But whatever, something motivated him. It came from within him to go forward. It wasn't somebody yelling on the sidelines, "You can do it! You can do it!" It has to be you wanting to do it. And so, when you think about things like, man, I wish I could get motivated to go work out, then get motivated and go work out. Decide, look in the mirror and decide what kind of person do you want to be. I did. I just had a couple people shoot video of Viking Pistol 1, and I got to review that. And, I don't like the way I looked, right? Got this little modular survival food ration right here, and I'm working on that. I am working on that now. Have been working on it. But, didn't go on overnight. It's not going to come off overnight. But I'm taking steps to deal with it. And just because I'm taking steps to deal with it, that makes me feel better, and that motivates me to do more. But you have to take responsibility for getting stuff done. You can't say, I need somebody to motivate me to do it, because that's passing the buck. Now, you motivate yourself. You go start doing something. You start building a fallout shelter, or getting in shape, or coming up with a food storage plan, or taking steps to get out of the city and get to a place like this where you want to live, and you're starting to lose motivation. The cares of this world, the worries of the day, the beck and call of the seductive internet, and the refrigerator are calling to you like the sirens on the rocks, right? How do you keep motivated? How do you stay motivated? You had a good start, but you're starting to lose it. Here's how. You have to set intermediate goals. Well, you don't have to. It's what I do. I always have a big goal at the end. I want to run a 100-mile race, this particular 100-mile race on this date, let's say a year from now, right? Actually, it'd be too darn cold to run 100 right now, but Work with me. Let's say 18 months from now, I want to run this particular 100-mile race. Okay, cool. So I know what I got to do to run 100 because I've done it a couple times, so I'm going to start running again. Well, no, man, because right now I'm in no condition to run 100. And so what you do is you decide, okay, if I'm going to run 100 next, June and a half, a year from this June, I need to be able to do 70 miles by next, probably March. Okay, well, if I got to do 70 miles by March, then by January, I should probably be able to do 50, right? Okay, well, if I got to do 50 by January, that's a year from now. What do I got to do between now and then to get up to 50? And you just break it down, and then you set little goal points. And by this point, 3 weeks from now, I want to be able to run 10 miles. Or if you're doing a speed thing, I want to be able to run 10K this fast, this far from now. And then by the next 6 weeks, I want to be able to do this. By the next 4 weeks, I want to be able to do this. And then you can set little, I'm getting sticks off the road. You can set little rewards, if you will. That's what I used to do. I used to sign up for races as rewards on my goal to run 100-mile races. And because they're fun and you get a t-shirt and you get to hang out and somebody else is giving you food and water while you do it, right? And so I'd sign up, say, I'm going to do this 10K here, I'm going to do this 10-miler here, I'm going to do this marathon here, or whatever. And then I would go do those and they'd be little rewards and I'd have fun with it, You don't give yourself a reward when you're doing something like fitness of 2 gallons of ice cream. That's not a reward, right? I think I said something about that recently or I may have typed it. I was worried about my wife. I trust in the Father, and I know, where she's going if she goes, but I would miss her horribly. And so I was a little bit in an emotional state. And then when it's like, oh, she's not going to die, right now, very good. I felt like I deserved to eat ice cream and cookies, when we were up letting her recover. And what I should have rewarded myself with was burpees, right? Working out. Exercising, because it's just a flip in the head. It's just a flip of a thought process. Well, I've been through a stressful time. It's okay. I deserve to eat this chocolate ice cream with cookies tucked around the edge of the bowl. I deserve that. You could flip it around and go, okay, now I'm not concerned about that anymore. I can focus on working out. Now I can go work out without thinking I'm being selfish and, not worrying about my wife. I can just go work out and get a good workout. See, it's the same thing. You spend 20 minutes eating ice cream, or you spend 20 minutes, running back and forth and doing push-ups or something. They're both rewards. And then when you're done with either one of them, you can be like, yeah, that was good, man. I deserved that. Right? It's just a mind game that you have to play, but where does that mind game come from? Within you, right? I don't know if this is New Age or not. I'm certainly not New Age, but there is something to visualization, right? There is something to word choice, and this is America. America. If you want to be something, to a large degree, you can be that. Now, the further you go down this road of life, the less options you have, right? But for you young people, within physical, real physical limitations, which most physical limitations can be overcome, but if you are only 4 feet tall, they are not going to let you be an astronaut, right? If you are 7 feet tall, they're not going to let you be a tanker in the Army, that kind of thing. But within, physical limitations, you can do what you want to do in a lot of cases. You can be all that you can be. You can be what you want to be. Visualize it. Make a plan and then start taking steps towards that plan. Motivate yourself to go do it. I'm going to finish this up because I'm starting to get a little on it. But a lot of people have said you're so lucky to live at Shofar Mountain and to have what you have at Shofar Mountain and, yada, yada, yada. Words to that effect, right? I am blessed. I don't take that away from it. But, this did not happen by accident. I did not find a pot of gold at the end of some rainbow and then do this. My wife and I had a life plan from the time we were in college. This is what we want to do. Boom, ba boom, ba boom. We had steps all along the way. We modified that plan as we went. And I'll just give you one specific example. I joined the military right out of college. And I don't know how it works now, but when I joined as an officer, you had to sign up for 3 years active duty. And then if you didn't, you could get out of the Army, active Army, after 3 years, but then you had to serve like 3 more years in the reserves or National Guard. And then you could be done. And so we decided that we were going to serve one tour, 3 years, and then make our decision then. Are we going to stay in the Army for a career, 20 to 30 years, or are we going to get out, and start pursuing other things in the civilian world? And so we did our 3-year tour, and then that's when Special Forces came up. So we decided, okay, let's stay one more tour, one more 3-year stint, and then we'll decide. But we're not going beyond, if we go beyond 6 years, we said to ourselves, we're going to stay for 20, right? In for a penny, in for a pound. And so, bada bing, bada boom, we stayed, right? And because of that, things started happening. Well, halfway through my career, about 10 years into it, 10 years out of college, we decided then we wanted to retire in a rural place. And so we started looking at land within our budget, and, we bought this place, right? And so we planned far ahead. That was 94, right? And actually, we bought this place in 90. So there you go. And so we had a long-term goal to live like we do here, sort of. It's been modified. But we had these milestones along the way. It's with anything, fitness, survival, whatever, any kind of life goal. You have to make a plan and then break it down into steps and then go for it. But really don't look too much to other people like me, to actually motivate you. You're either going to do it or you're not. I cannot grab you by the throat and say, let's go. I cannot hold you by the hand and say, follow me. I can only just give you ideas that then you can ruminate on and go, you know what? Dag planet, I am going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. You're going to do that. You can do it. Maybe not final example, but another example along those lines. I tell people all the time, get out of the cities. If you live, work in the city, you need to get out. That's easy for you to say, Pastor Joe, blah, 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 blah. I can't get out. I don't make any money. I don't have any money. I have a job making $10 an hour, and I can't go anywhere. If you have a job and you are a full adult making $10 an hour, you have to go somewhere. That's just not going to cut it in today's society. Point your feet that way and leave. You're not leaving anything behind if you got a $10 an hour job. You can leave. You just don't want to leave. You're more comfortable where, those of you who say, I'd like to leave, but I can't. I can think of small exceptions, and they're not even good. But for the most part, the people who say they can't leave just really don't want to leave. They don't like the options that they have. They are afraid to take that leap into the unknown that's out there. Let's leave. I knew a guy who was in the military, and I'll keep this a little bland, but he was offered a really good command position, and it was a career good move for him to take command of this unit that he was offered command of, and he had to turn it down. Well, he didn't have to turn it down, but he turned it down because he had married a woman who he had married a divorcee, right? And she had children, and the dad of those children was just a deadbeat loser idiot, and he really was. And they had a court order that the kids had to stay in the state. and this command that this guy was offered was in a state far away. And so he had a choice. He could have gone and done the command without his family, but he chose to turn it down so that he could be with his family. So that's a choice. I had somebody the other day, and if it's you, I'm not trying to dig you out. You know, I don't remember what your name was or anything, so it's not personal. It's just in my head. Who said, you don't understand, I can't leave the city. I'm in a similar situation, you know. My kids aren't allowed to leave, and so for me to see my kids, I got to stay here. No, you don't. No, you don't. You could live on the other side of the country and fly to see them during your visitation. All right, I realize that is economically not feasible. You could certainly live 2 hours the other way. You know, your kids are here, you live over here, go live 2 or 3 hours that way outside of the city, in not even suburbs in most places, out into some kind of farmlandy type place. You can always do better. You're just choosing not to. And once you realize that, see, because when you tell yourself, I can't, you don't understand my situation, I can't do this, you've just limited yourself with your words and your thoughts. I can't. Instead of saying I can't do something, or instead of saying this is why I can't do that, ask yourself, how can I do that? How can I do something close to that, approximating that? How can I do something closer to that than this? Right? Never say I can't, because you can. It's amazing what you can do. It's amazing what the human body can do. You know, the limitation is usually in the mind, not the body. It's amazing how bodies can be transformed. You know, you could be 500 pounds and decide, I'm tired of doing this. I want to run a marathon in, 4.5 hours. You can do that. And then this is where I always get the comments on YouTube. I can't. I'm 70 years old and have 2 broken hips and emphysema. Okay, well, what can you do? What can you do? Young people, think about your life 20, 30, 40 years in the future. Make decisions today that will set you up to get to where you want to be at the end of that 20, 30 years. I know 20-year-olds think 40 years old is ancient, right? I remember that. I remember when I was 20, I thought 40-year-olds were old, man. Now I look back at 40-year-olds and go, yeah, I remember when I was 40. Used to run 100-mile races. Hey, motivate yourself. Decide what you want to do. Set a goal for that. Set intermediate goals to get there. Make them realistic, make them achievable, and start knocking those puppies off and start working your way towards that goal. You can do it. Do what you can with what you got where you're at, but don't ever settle. You can always be better. You can always do better. You can always be in a better place. All right. I'll see you out there.